Hello, everybody. Andrew Thompson here of the Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. My guest on the channel this week has a decade plus of experience in professional wrestling. He has won nearly every title there is to win in the CWF Mid-Atlantic promotion. He is California made. This is the one and only Arik Royal. Arik, how are you, boss?
What's going on, Andrew? How you doing, my man?
I appreciate you finally taking the time to do this, man. Me and Eric been trying to set this up for about a week or so now, but we finally got the chance to sit
Yeah,
down to do this. So I'm glad we were able to do this, man. Firstly, as I mentioned, Eric is from California. He is a Los Angeles Lakers fan. On the day that this was recorded, this is coming off of Game 5 of the NBA Finals, where the Miami Heat were able to pull it off. Jimmy Butler played 47 straight minutes just to push the Heat through. Eric, this is a lifelong Lakers fan, man. What was it like knowing that the NBA Finals are just right there, and then now y'all got to go back for a Game 6 against the Heat?
well, first of all, I can't take nothing away from the Miami Heat because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I kind of when this bubble thing happened and the way they got set up with like way they were set up in the playoffs, I felt like they had a real legit shot to get to where they're at because I watched how they play. They're a very good team. They play together. They're unselfish. So and Jimmy Butler just he gets a bad rap because he just speaks his mind, but he just plays hard and he wants to win. And he to me, I see a lot of Kobe in him as far as like Mamba mentality. He definitely has that. So I knew he wasn't gonna like let his team down, and like just those guys follow him, and he lets those guys shine too. And on our end, they like the Heat just came out hot, man. They played harder. They played harder for more of the game than we did, and it showed. Just that people are getting on LeBron about making that pass, but I mean. That's a good basketball play.
Right.
Number one, Danny Green was wide open. Like you're not gonna pass that up, especially if that's what he gets paid to do anyway. Give him the ball. You know what I mean? So with that, just LeBron played a lot, and he also had 40 points last night. And so I see a lot of people blaming him for that loss, and it's like you can't really blame him, man. Like it's a team effort. He did what he had to do, and he felt was the right play. And we'll just chalk it up, and hopefully the rest of the guys that didn't play good on last night or can play better in Game 6, man. Because we definitely need those other guys to step up. Guys like Kuzma and Morris, and even Dwight. Like Dwight didn't even really play well last night either. So, like we need those guys to step up and because they should know Miami's coming. They're not going to quit. They're not going to give up. So just go out there and play hard, man. You got to go out there and play hard and play and match their effort. You got to match their effort. If you don't, then we'll be looking at a Game 7 and possibly looking at not winning the championship. So, and I can't have that, man. Like we didn't came this far. Let's go ahead and tie it up for the most titles and keep it moving.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like one of the things like that you mentioned that I've seen a lot on social media, specifically over the last, a couple of hours since the game took place, was like people like kind of rooting for Jimmy Butler in a way, because for him to will his team that way, and I mean,
man,
he has help. Like, I don't think anybody's saying he doesn't have help, but like the fact that he's like single-handedly like willing this team to the NBA Finals.
Oh yeah, like that's just the type of. Yeah, that's just the type of player he is, though. He's been like that, his whole career. On the Bulls and then on the T-Wolves and, on the Sixers last year. Like, if you think about it, if like they were 4 bounces away from getting to the conference finals against Milwaukee last year when he was on the Sixers. And if you think about it, if he plays well against Giannis. So they quite possibly could have been playing last year in the NBA championship against the Warriors, Would they have won? I don't know. But he would have made his first appearance last year. The ball bounces a few different ways. And just like I said, he's a brash person. He comes off as brash, but he worked hard to get to this point, man. Like I've always respected his game and how he plays, man, because he plays hard on both ends of the floor, and he takes smart shots. Like
Right.
you think about it, like they say, he don't shoot a lot of threes, but he's efficient, and that's the one thing about Jimmy that I like respect so much, man. Like he's just a hard working ball player, man. And if you can't respect that, then like, do you even watch basketball?
Yeah.
So
No doubt, man. But like just to jump into the wrestling front, I know over the last 2 months or so, like you've been back in the ring, and I know you've had a couple of matches. Like what has it been like for you, man? Like competing during this COVID era of professional wrestling. Like, do you feel like, as far as the promotions you competed for, do you feel like safe and everything like that?
It is different. It's definitely different because you're used to wrestling in front of larger crowds and having more eyes on you, and you're able to be face to face with people and get your stuff out there and sell that merchandise. But I mean, for me, honestly, man, it's definitely helped myself because it's definitely helped me become more creative as far as like getting myself out there more, because I feel like talent wise, like I'm one of the best wrestlers on this planet, and I'm not trying to like, sound cocky or I'm just really confident in my, I'm just confident in my abilities, man. Like I know I can hang and go toe to toe with any of the best wrestlers out there in the world, and I know that I'm able to go out there and tell a good story with any of those guys and go out there and tear it up, man. So for me, it's definitely given me some of that perspective as to like, how can I, get myself, more looks and more notoriety by going out there and showing what I can do. I know what I can do in the ring. They know what I can do in the ring, but what can I do as far as like character work and character development, because I do a lot of my talking in the ring as far as instead of just going out and cutting like a promo here and there. So, but it's definitely helped. It's definitely, working in those smaller crowds, it's much more quieter. So, you got to find those things to do in the ring to make sure the crowd is still enthralled, and
right.
Make sure the crowd, when it doesn't seem like you may not be a lot of people in there, but it may sound like there's a bunch of people in there, and that's what that's the goal I always want when it comes to myself, man. Like I always want to go out there and be able to go out there and entertain the crowd as much as I can with my abilities, and like doing that as far as like with a smaller crowd now is definitely something to learn, something difficult, but I thrive on that stuff. I thrive on those type of challenges because, like I said, man, I feel like my abilities, I'm able to go out there and do whatever I want and still be able to put on a good show for no matter how many people are in the crowd. Like I train, we train in front of nobody.
Right.
So
right.
like the stuff that we train and prepare for when nobody's watching is this type of stuff here. So if we're able to go out there and do it, I feel like it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I'm definitely willing to take on.
And I know in those 2 months, these past 2 months or so, maybe 3 months now, actually, I know you've worked with both Suge D and AJ Gray. Like, I think it's been real cool, man, to see like this just like abundance of like black professional wrestlers, like everybody like rising up at the exact same time and like people supporting one another. Like, why do you think?
Yeah,
like,
man.
Why do you think specifically like over the last, I say 2 years or so, that we've just seen this like surge of just like star quality African American talent on the independent scene and just rise to the forefront?
Well, I think it's because, man, Andrew, I really think it's because like the guys are putting the work in, they're putting themselves out there. One of the main people that I want to point out, that I've been in the ring with a few times, and I've actually had a match with before the COVID hit, was O'Shay Edwards, man.
Yeah.
O'Shay has been going out there and killing it, man. Like, especially with him being in the Ring of Honor dojo. And I'm not taking away anything for those people that are on their program, but I feel O'Shay should be on TV. He's got the look, he's got the size, he can talk, and he's willing to learn at that. And that's another thing too. All these guys that are out, all the people of color that are wrestling right now, African Americans that are wrestling, like me and Suge and AJ, they're willing to learn, man. But think about Suge. Suge has been wrestling for just as long as I have, and then he's been places, and he bet on himself, man. And I think that's another thing. A lot of us are starting to bet on ourselves because, you go, you've been to promotions and you've been places and you send out emails and, you still don't get any looks, but, the people book their friends, which is, that's just human nature. But also, you can, there's other guys that are just as good and they may even be better than your friends. So wouldn't you want your friends to get better in the ring and improve by putting them in the ring with somebody that they haven't been in the ring with before? And it's going to challenge them as well, But last night, the collective started and before the culture show, and I heard nothing but great things about it, but I didn't expect anything less because, you looked at the card, there's all that talent on the card, man. You got, all those people there, they put a great show together, and those guys went out there and, they went out there and killed it. They just need an opportunity, and then people to actually believe and believe in the opportunity for them. A lot of times, you get the tweets and you get the people, putting you over and stuff like that, which is all well and good, but it'd be a little bit better if it's also on both parties. It's if I'm sending out stuff and I'm trying to get out there, and then people are vouching for me, shouldn't you be like, well, okay, let's take a chance on the guy? What have we got to lose? Mm-hmm. You don't have anything to lose, really. Because if I go to one show and I stink it up, well, hey, guess what? You ain't ever got to bring me back again. But if I go to a show and I go out there and tear it up, then this will be like, well, hey, maybe I can find something for you. Not every show, but maybe I can find something for you here and there. Because then now okay, I have these opportunities at this promotion, these opportunities at this promotion. I have this one or two opportunities here. So when I go to this promotion here that I don't have as many opportunities at as these other places, I got to go out here and just kill it. They can't deny the talent. Mm-hmm. And I think that's these past couple of years, that's just been going on. You can't deny the talent, the black talent that's out there, man, because it's not only has it been out there the past couple of years, but it's been out there longer than we even know.
Right.
Before we were alive, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the business is transcended and it's changed and it's more accessible versus to back then where it wasn't as accessible, so we didn't really know what was going on. Now it's a little bit more transparent, which is a gift and a curse at the same time. But now there's really no denying people. You got to give people their just due now. And I'm just sitting there waiting on mine.
Right. And I'm sure that's coming, man. But one thing I you mentioned O'Shay Edwards, right? And I had the chance to interview O'Shay back in March, literally right before the pandemic started. And
okay.
real cool dude, man. And I got to see him wrestle in person, crazy good wrestler, crazy talented. And last night I saw his match with Calvin Tankman at For the Culture, and I was just thinking, I was like, it's crazy to me that Ring of Honor has, you mentioned Ring of Honor, it's crazy to me that they keeping him in the dojo system and haven't signed him. You know what I'm saying? Just the fact that he's already, and I actually tweeted that out during the show because it's just a thought that came to my head. I was like, it's crazy that Ring of Honor hasn't signed him because he's already a part of their system. So you would think, naturally, that he would already be signed or close to that. So it's just crazy to me, knowing how many talented, unsigned black wrestlers are out there that can be either key pieces or headliners or fit into slots here and there, and it could be really critical pieces to a program. You know what I'm saying? That I just never, something I never really understood.
Right. I think a lot of times too, man, when it comes to wrestling, people talk about, paying their dues, which everybody should pay their dues. Everybody should pay their dues when it comes to wrestling. But it's when somebody goes to for example, O'Shay, O'Shay's not. I'm gonna say he's not an old guy, but he's not a young guy. You know what I mean? Like he's not 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, man. Like he's more of a mature adult.
Yeah.
So like trying to putting these people through things like that where they gotta sit at the dojo and do all this, that, and the other. They've been doing that, since they came. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you gotta take a chance on the guy and let him go ahead and show you what he's about.
Single
and I feel like, O'Shay's one of those people. Suge is definitely one of those people. Tankman, like you mentioned, I saw when I wrestled AJ. I watched his match with Eric Stevens, and dude, that was like my first time seeing him in person, and I became a fan right away, man. I was like, yo, like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, dude, the possibilities me and him can have in a ring, man. Like that's all I'm sitting there thinking about. Like we tell some amazing stories, and I was like, dude, I was sold. And I told him when he came back there, man, I was like, I'm sold, man. Like it's like there's just so many guys, like even like the younger guys like Airwolf and like I've been another guy that I want to get in the ring with that I haven't yet. We've been on the same shows for since the exception of the promotion Action Wrestling is AC Mack, man. Like the dude can talk, he can go. Like there's just like there's another guy I want to get in there with, and I feel like he's another guy that you can go in there. He's coachable. You go in there, you give him an opportunity, give him the mic. And you ain't got to do nothing else. Just give him the mic. Give him the microphone for 30 seconds. He's gonna sell you. You're either gonna say, "Yo, I hope that fool gets punched in his mouth," or "Yo, that dude talks a lot of shit. I want to see what he does." And that's what AC does right there. He talks him into the building, and then he backs it up with his abilities. Timmy Lou. Like I've been out here for I've been out here in Carolina for 12 years, and I saw Timmy Lou come up, man. Like when he was doing the gymnastic, he was doing the gymnast gimmick, and then up to teaming with White Mike, man. Like, and he's another guy that steadily wants to improve and get better. So it's like when you're out there, like when I'm training or when I'm in the ring with somebody, and or like I'm on social media and I can see guys not only are they putting it on social media, but you could tell they're actually putting in the work. Those are the type of people you want to see win because they're actually out there giving that effort, versus guys that want to take shortcuts and things like that. Like, as a black wrestler, like we can't take shortcuts.
Right. We
gotta take the long road no matter what. So, like, that's why I feel like now, like the resurgence of the black wrestler is in us getting showcased. Like they're not gonna be able to deny us, man, and because everybody's working hard. Like nobody's half-assing it. And then the guys that aren't getting showcased, but the guys that are putting in the work, it's paying off slowly but surely. Not as fast as we would like, not as fast as, but it is. And eventually, they're not gonna, like I said, they're gonna have no choice but to give us some of these guys a contract and opportunities and things like that.
To kind of follow up on that, like with all the racial injustices that have been going on for decades, but centuries actually, but specifically over the past, I'd say like 10 years or so, it's probably been the worst, just because we could see everything on social media, and like you get to see this stuff firsthand if you haven't already. Is it hard to focus on wrestling sometimes, or like while you're in the ring, or do you kind of use that as like a motivation in a way, not necessarily in like the negative aspect of what took place, but kind of use that to kind of drive yourself, if that makes sense?
Yeah, man. Andrew, I do use it as motivation, man. Like, and it is like there's some cases where you go like, man, I wrestle in the South,
Yeah.
I wrestle in the Bible Belt, so some of the places that I go, number one, you're already getting the look.
Yeah, you know what it is.
So they're already writing you off, number one, just because of how my skin color is and how my hair is. When I get in the ring and get in the ring and tear it up, then they're kind of like, oh, well, he's actually not bad. You know what I mean? He's actually pretty good. And I mean, just you know, like and like you said, like on social media all the time, and but once you go to a show and those same people talking that trash on social media or saying that stuff, they won't say two words to you or won't say nothing to you when you're there. And then when you call them out on their BS, then they're sitting there like, oh, well, I didn't know we had it. Well, dude, you put it out there, so obviously we do have an issue.
Or they try,
you know,
to
like,
hit you with the it's just wrestling, like they playing into the character type, you know what I'm saying? That type of excuse.
right, and bad thing is they say that, and a lot of times it's the fans. I'm like, dude, you're not a character. You are a fan that paid to come watch this show. You know, and when I'm on Facebook if I'm on Facebook under my real name, that's my personal life. That's nothing to do with wrestling. And if I'm posting something as the Ace God, Arik Royal, then that's different. You know, Twitter is my Twitter is kind of meshed of my personal and wrestling. So, but like Facebook, that's straight up just I have my Arik Royal page, and then I have my personal page. So, you know, I really try to all my wrestling stuff. I try to post on my wrestling page, and then everything else like is on my personal page. And to be honest, man, like I really don't even be on Facebook like that anymore, man. It's awful. Like I'd much rather just deal with Twitter and Instagram, you know, because the Facebook is just, yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, honestly, even with me, like I primarily just use social media, like to, of course, promote my work, promote my interviews,
right,
and my writing, and like laugh at the funny videos on there, and like mess with my friends and stuff like that. Cause I'm not too like I'm starting to realize, I would say, like over the last year, I'm not really a big fan of it, like at all. But like I do like the tool to be able to use it to promote yourself. You know what I'm saying? To be able to have a platform to get your work out. I think that's probably the coolest part of it. But like, like my first time actually seeing you wrestle was at the Primetime Pro Wrestling show. I think that was in January. If I believe, January seemed like forever ago. But like that I know that was one of the promotions that did spotlight like a diverse group of talents. And you know, like as you've made your way around the independent scene, like what are some promotions that you know, like you become very fond of, like those ones like when they call you or you get an email from them, you kind of get amped up and you know you're ready to go to those certain shows?
Action is one of them. That's one place where I feel at home at. Matt, the promoter there, he's
Matt.
Like
Matt,
the one thing that I like.
Matt, a good dude.
Yeah, the one thing I like about Matt, because he was honest. That's the one thing I like at first, is that you're honest and upfront with me, and he was honest and upfront with me from the jump, and I respected that a lot, and so that's why, you know, I like going down there, and he gives me quality stuff to do. He gives me stuff I can sink my teeth into. You got American Lucha Wrestling, which they got a show going on tonight. You know, that's kind of the same thing. And it's also because, you know, a lot of the CWF guys were like my trainees. They're there, so I like to go there and hang out with them and just make sure they're doing good and just help them to steadily improve as much as I can when I'm there, because, you know, I want to, like I said, I want to see everybody succeed. So especially if you came from under me and were training from under me, man, I definitely want to see you succeed. So, you know, that's another place. When the first Black Label show I went to, man, like I felt, you know, I felt really comfortable there, like especially after my match. You know, I would love to definitely go back up there and try to chop it up a little bit more up there. Some more places in the Midwest. I mean, if Prime Time was still going on, I'd love to go there, but you know, what happened, and you know, you just got to keep it moving, man. But I mean, for myself, man, there's so many places and there's so many people that I want to get in the ring with and do stuff with. Like, I really, like, you know, like all the promotions that you hear a bad rap about, like a lot of them now they got kind of weeded out during that speaking out movement. So, you know, that's kind of the beauty of that. because like you got to weed that stuff out, man. Like you can't have that. You can't have that type of stuff in wrestling, man, because then it affects your locker room, and then it affects. Then not only that, it affects you as a person, and so then it's like you want to go, to that place still, but it's like, well, if they're treating me like shit, then I don't want to go there. Like I want to go to a place where I feel comfortable enough in the locker room, I feel comfortable enough around the people there, and that I'm able to go in there and create magic and create memories for the crowd when I'm there. So like I'm just trying to do that any and everywhere I can because like I said earlier, Andrew, I know what I'm capable of, and it's very frustrating when when you're capable of doing stuff, and then you're still not getting that opportunity to do it, because once you know you get that opportunity, like I know, like it ain't gonna be no doubt. Right. So there's a lot of places out there, but like those are like the main places I've been working lately is Action, and I did a couple shows for American Lucha when they relaunched too. So and then the Black Label. So I definitely would like to go back up there with Black Label. There's also down there in New South in Alabama with Cabana Man Dan and them over there, and because they got that big old belt, man. Like who wouldn't want that belt, man? That thing is huge, man. I love to walk around with that belt. Just walk around the street with that big ass belt, man.
Can you imagine going to TSA with that thing?
Right, man. They were like, yo, what is this? Like, it's just my drip, man. It's just what I do, So, like, that's another place, and just like, getting more in the Midwest. I love, because I mean that's really where it's popping at right now, the Midwest, and then back in the Northeast. I know there's a couple promotions up there, like where Trish Adore's the champ at, the Fight Club Pro. Like, I want to get up there, and do some stuff up there back in the Maryland area, because I haven't been back up there in a while either. So it's like, man, I just want to get out, man, and show who I am, because we think we have a lot of time, but in reality, man, like time flies by, man. So you just want to take advantage of like all the time that you have now, like doing what you love and spending time with the people that you love and care about. So, for me, man, it's just like, going out there and killing it in the ring, and then coming home to my girlfriend, and then, my soon to be, I'm about to be a dad. So,
hey, congratulations, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, so like,
that's what's up.
Thank you, man. So like when my kid is born, like, when they go on YouTube, or if I'm able to go out there and able to make a little name for myself, like I want my kid to be like, yo, that's my dad right there, man. He's awesome, and like my girlfriend, she has a daughter, and like she's my daughter too, I would say. So like for her to look up to me as well, like that means a lot to me. And it's like for me, it's like I can't half-ass anything, because you got these people looking up to you. So you want to go out there and give your best effort, because then that's going to show them, okay, if I put my best effort out in something that I'm passionate about, then I can achieve it. So, that's what I always, that's how I was brought up too, man. Like if you're something passionate about something, go out there and get it, man, because it's like you're going to have the support already. Like, so just do what you got to do, and you got to humble yourself a lot, which is a thing that as wrestlers, it's very hard for us to do, but we do have to humble ourselves. But it's funny though, because I think more wrestlers are humble than the actual people that help out. Like there's some people that help out and they feel like they deserve just as big as a piece of the pie, which they deserve a piece of the pie, but I mean, your work gets rewarded. That's how I normally am. If I see you working hard or busting your ass, I'm gonna point it out. I'm gonna gravitate towards you, because I was all right, this dude's working. I can get with that. I can work with this person. I can work with this girl. I can work with this guy, because I know that they're gonna put the work in and they're actually putting in the effort. So effort to me goes a long way. Like if you put in the work and not take any shortcuts, then you're already good in my book.
You something you mentioned and what you just said that really kind of stuck out was like, feeling that you're like in that upper echelon of professional wrestlers, and I feel like that's how most people should feel about anything that they do, like whether you're writing or whether you play football or basketball or whether you a doctor or whatever. I feel like having that mindset of feeling like you are one of the best is going to take you a long way. And I know it can be like, cause even with me, just speaking of my personal experience, like with my writing and my interviewing, I do think I am among that upper echelon as far as work goes, like in producing content and making sure stuff is consistent and accurate. Like, do I feel like everybody knows that? No. Do I feel like a lot, like some people know that? Yeah. But I mean, like, I think at the end of the day, like you said, it's just about like, keeping your head in the ground and, keep pushing forward and like keep putting out work and keep producing, because I feel like, I mean, that old saying of, you keep working and, the right person to notice, but at the same time, I feel like it's a mix of that and also making sure you put yourself in position in front of those people so you won't have to wait for them to notice you. Like, you can kind of make them notice you in a way. So I feel like that's like something really important that you pointed out. Oh, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, you're 100% correct, man. Like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man. Like, yeah, you gotta, keep grinding, but also, like you said, you gotta put that content and you gotta put that stuff out there so people are still like, oh, okay, like Arik's still out here active. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like one guy that I give credit to for doing that, like I gave credit to Suge and O'Shay and guys that are doing that. But another guy that's like been doing it a lot is Effie.
Yeah.
Like that dude, man, like Effie and Danhausen, like and Warhorse, those guys, like I had a friend of mine who he said, I've never seen a Warhorse match ever. All I've seen are his promos. And I was like, that's exactly how you should be. Like, that's how you should be. Like, you should have people so intrigued by your promos that when you go out there in the ring and you're out there and they already know, okay, this dude's a wild guy or this dude's a character. Then you go out there and you deliver in your match, and then it makes things even easier for you. So, like, I like, especially during this pandemic, man, like, a lot of guys have stepped up and found ways to be creative and to keep themselves, in the public eye. And I commend them so much. And, as a colleague, man, like, sometimes you get caught up being so much of a fan that you forget to ask them, like, yo, man, like, what are some of the things that you're doing to help you get out there like that? What are some of the things that, that I may be able to do to, help me do that too? You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, well, a lot of wrestlers have egos and they're scared to ask those questions. So you have to, like I said, you got to humble yourself. You got to be willing to learn and be open with things like that. So.
Right. And I mentioned at the top of the interview, the amount of success that you've had in the CWF Mid-Atlantic promotion. Like, man, like when did you get started there, man? How have the you two sides, being you and them, of course, how have y'all been able to like maintain this consistent relationship over the years? Like, it's very clear that they like you over there.
Well, so I started training in April 2008. I met the head trainer, Jeff Rudd, Coach Jim and I met him, and we sat down and have a discussion. And like I said, man, when you're honest with me from the gate, like, honesty goes a long way. Like, he was already up front. He's like, look, man, you're probably going to, like, lose more money starting off or for most of your career than you're going to make when you wrestle. But, you work hard, you come and you're willing to learn and you have an open mind on things, then you should be good. You have a good attitude, then you should be good. And, for myself, coming from a military family and coming from an educator's family, like, discipline, goes a long way for me. And if it's something that you're passionate about, like wrestling, like, I know he even gave me the talk. He was like, hey, so I'll let you, you can come to training, and then after you can let me know what you think. But in the back of my mind, I already knew. I was like, nah, I'm sold. Like, I ain't, like, this is it. Like, once I found the spot, it was it for me, and it was convenient to where I lived at, because I lived in Burlington at the time. and I literally did not know there was a promotion like 5 minutes from my house. And when I found out, I went home online. I looked them up, because that's another thing too. Is like, okay, well, you hear about this, you hear about these local promotions, but a lot of times, you go to these promotions and they're the talent and or the total show as a whole isn't up to snuff. It's kind of like, yeah, what is this? You know what I mean? Or like you wouldn't. You're sitting there in the back of your mind like, yeah, I wouldn't come wrestling in here on a regular basis. There's no structure. There's no, there needs to be just some more cleaned up training among the people in the ring. So laziness, so to speak. And like the CWF, like with Jeff training me, and then not only that, but then like the people that I trained with, like, they say iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
So like the guys that I trained with, like when I was there, I started training when I was 23. So when I was there, you had Andrew Everett, because I mean his dad was, like the head promoter of the place, so he was there, and he had already been training since he was like 9 years old. And then you had guys like Nick Richards, then you had guys like a buddy of mine, Matt Smith, he used to train.
Trevor Lee there
and
too,
then,
right?
Yeah, that's another. I was just getting ready, and I was getting ready. That was the next one I was getting to. And then, in 2009, this little skinny, big-head kid, Trevor Lee, comes in, 14 years old, and like I didn't know who he was, but I knew he was training. I train in Sanford now, and he had not him, but he was training out here, out in Sanford. And then his dad, he used to work for Omega. He knew Coach Jim and I, and he brought him up to one of our shows. And the rest is pretty much history, man. Like I had a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old kid pushing me to get better, because I saw the look in their eyes and the work ethic like that Trevor put in, man, like to like get to where he's at now. But also, like, that helped me, because I was like, okay, I got to keep up with this kid, because if I can keep up with him, then I know that I'm able to be and keep up with anybody in the ring around the world.
All right.
Because to me, and I'm not just trying to sound biased because, I'm close with him, but to me, I feel like he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And, WWE slowly and surely showing that here and there, like they're showing it with his character and everything. But I'm telling you, man, you already know, man, like they go ahead out there and go ahead and let him have a Trevor Lee match.
Oh, yeah.
A Trevor Lee CWF match. These people are going to be like, yo, like, oh, this Cameron Grimes dude is legit. And I'm just going to be sitting there like, duh, like, he been legit, bro. Like, but yeah, man, him, and then he was like, he definitely helped, like, motivate me, man. Like, and then they have Roy Wilkins, my tag partner.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was training me as well when I first came in too. So it's like you had all that talent there, man, and like those guys, like we pushed each other, man, and that was the cool thing, man. I looked forward to going to training because I knew I was going to be able to get pushed and be creative, and not only like and also like help you stay in ring shape too, man, because it's like you ain't gonna be in there, we can lollygag after, but we gonna get after it while we're here, you know what I mean? And so,
no doubt.
And that, yeah, man, like I'm very fortunate and very blessed to have trained, there and trained with, guys like Trevor, man, because, like, yeah, man, like he definitely pushed me to help me to get better, and like all those guys did, They all had a hand in helping, create who the Ace God is. But like, man, I tell you, dude, like, there's like those training sessions were fun. They were fun.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. I remember last year, like, and I mentioned it earlier too, like anything like anything before April seems like years ago, but I remember last year, which seems like 4 years ago now. I know you worked the GCW show down at WrestleMania weekend in New Jersey.
Oh
In New Jersey,
yeah,
I believe it was. Did you have
yeah.
anything lined up for this year's WrestleMania in Tampa before the pandemic, or were you planning to head down there just to be a part of the festivities? And like how amped were you for Tampa? Because I genuinely feel like this is probably going to be one of the the better WrestleMania weekends as far as independent shows
Yeah.
goes, and especially I think everybody was particularly excited for the For the Culture show. Of course, it happened, as we're recording this, it happened last night
Yeah.
or today
Yeah.
actually. But I think that was probably going to be one of the ones that, as far as having, you know, uh, black fans in attendance and having an abundance of black fans in attendance, and just
Hmm.
having just being around your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that was probably gonna be one of the ones. But
Right.
like, did you have any? But going back to the question, did you have anything lined up for Mania Week this year?
So the funny story about that GCW match.
Mm.
Um. So I was supposed to wrestle Daniel Makabe
Mm.
in a single. Well, actually, let me rewind even further. So originally, WrestleMania weekend in New York, I was supposed to wrestle Ilya Dragunov,
Mm. Okay.
and then
Okay.
yeah,
What?
and he ended up getting signed.
Oh yeah, he did get signed.
So
Right, you're right. The
so
NXT UK signed him up.
so they pulled him off. So then they put Makabe in his place. So I was supposed to wrestle Daniel Makabe at that in WrestleMania weekend in New York. And then the Nova Pro thing, collapsed and shut down. And so, there was a lot of matches that they had. So, like, we were supposed to run a show, and there's a lot of matches that were set up. So, like, they just threw us in this 10-man tag, which, I was grateful for.
Right. It's cool,
But
but it's not. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I still felt some type of way about it, man. I was
Yeah.
like, it didn't really give
As
me
you should.
a chance to showcase what I can do on a grander scale. So it's kind of rubbed the wrong way about it, and I still to this day feel some type of way about it. But that just helps motivate me as far as like being better in the ring and showing them why they should have went ahead and had that match. And so fast forward to this year's WrestleMania, Primetime Pro Wrestling. I was supposed to wrestle. They scheduled the Makabe match again.
Mm.
And so I was supposed to wrestle him in Tampa. And I also had another match set up. I was supposed to be in a three-way match against Gino Medina and this other kid named Mikey Banker.
Mm.
And so those are my two, like, matches I had. And then COVID hit, so then all that got shut down. So then, I didn't have anything. So, but yeah, man, I was supposed to wrestle Makabe 2 years in a row, and 1 year the promotion shut down, the next year COVID. So
I really don't think that's a coincidence. I feel like two years in a row are you supposed to be wrestling Daniel Makabe. I feel like that's going to happen down the line on an even more grander scale, even a more spotlighted scale. Or maybe next year's WrestleMania weekend it might happen. Like, third time's the charm. Because I feel like you and Daniel Makabe will match up real well. Like, especially because of the experience that you got. The experience that he's had.
Right.
Working in WXW overseas and stuff like that. I feel like y'all two y'all would mesh really well. But one guy that I really did want to talk to you about, man, was Fred Yehi. I know you guys wrestled in Action Wrestling, and I interviewed Fred. I want to say in July. I want to say I was able to get a hold of Fred, which was really cool. But yeah, like when he's come up in other interviews that I've done, people do nothing but speak highly of this dude. Expect like in the same in the same vein that people speak of AR Fox, like as far as like these are two dudes who have been staples of the independent wrestling scene and have been really not necessarily at the forefront of when it comes to the rise of black talent, because I think there's other people that have been there too. But I mean, like, as far as like some people that they look up to in a way, I would say, as far as Fred Yehi and AR Fox goes. But like why is it from your experience, from your interactions, I'm assuming your interactions with Fred Yehi, like why do you think people speak so highly of him? Because I've heard it from other people, but like it's always good to hear that type of stuff from people that have interacted with him.
Yeah, man, Fred is just a genuine dude, man. Like, he's just a real, genuine, nice guy who wants to be good and tell great stories in the ring. And so for me to interact with him, and not only that, but like Matt gave us the opportunity to like have a program. Like I loved it because we got to both showcase what we can do, and like the matches, like like if you watch the matches in order, like the violence turned up, or the brutality. I would say violence.
I know what you mean.
More brutality. The brutality turned up in each match, because like the very first time I worked him was in Nova Pro, and it was like we were showcasing. Okay, we both could wrestle a little bit, but we both chop it up a little bit and both throw them strikes. And in Nova, I was a baby face. But in action, I got to be, I'm a heel in action. So when I'm down there, like I get to, I wouldn't say be more of a ring general, but like I get to be more in control, and I can like kind of dictate how the crowd reacts, as far as like who I'm in the ring with and what I do in the ring. So I always enjoy doing that, man. Like being able to like get the crowd emotionally invested into something that you're doing. Man, there's no better feeling than that, man. Like me and Fred, like I think after the first action match, it was we knew it was like, oh man, we got something here, man. And just like going back and watching those matches and just watching it, like we beat the hell out of each other, man. But it was all in like for the sake of the story. And that's the one thing, another thing about Fred, like not only is he genuine, but he's a professional too. And he's creative, and we're always trying to find a thing that somebody gives us something to like a ground structure of what we're gonna do, and then leaves it up to us to be creative and come up with something good for the fans to watch. Like with Fred, it was very, very easy to do because we both were sold on psychology of the match, and like for me, like I'm a huge Kings Road guy, so like for me, like that's how I love to tell my stories that way. Like Jumbo Tsuruta is like my top 5 all time favorite, man. Like I named my dog after him, so for me, like I always like it's hard though because he was always more of a baby face, but then like later on he became more of that grumpy old man, and like he was fighting Masawa and fighting Tower. Tower is on his team, but he's fighting Masawa and Kobashi and Kawada, and like just like bringing the best out of them, and by look, man, like Jumbo's pretty much saying, like, look, man, like, if you think it's going to be tough in here with me, I'm just trying to give y'all a little example. Like, I'm the champion. If you want this belt, like, you really going to have to bust your ass to take it from me. So then when you're just in this position, now you know how I feel, when everybody was chasing me. So, like I love, like, even, like, the psychology of their matches. Like, they weren't telling a story just with one match. Like, they were telling a story on a grander scale. But that one match, like, those matches you remember, right? You remember those matches, but you remember moments from those matches, too. It's like, yo, when Tenryu slapped the shit out of Jumbo, like, dude, did you hear that crowd? Like, that shit was crazy. You know what I mean? It wasn't even a move. It wasn't even something big. It was like, he smacked him. And then, like, people talk about that versus talking about, like, it just helps build the match more, man. Like, I just feel like me and Fred, and like, Fred's very good at that, and Fred's he can adapt to any style of wrestling, which is very good as well. And, I mean, they call him the Savage Way for a reason, because if push comes to shove, like the dude he really is legit strong, and he's, like, I won't say he's like he's a Tasmanian devil when he starts getting savage. Like I remember one time in one of those matches he powerbombed me, and like I remember I went up and like he pretty much got me up on his own. I was like, damn. You know what I mean? That's what I'm in there. I'm like, damn, okay. So it was just like, yo, like I'd work for Fred to the ends of the earth, man. And like he does, like Fred Yehi should have been, and I said it on Twitter. Like Fred Yehi should have been somewhere years ago. Years ago, dude. And it's just, and like we talked about earlier, man. It's just about, you know, like the black wrestler, the wrestler of color, like just now is like really now starting to like elevate. And like I said, man, it's sad that Fred, like just now, like he's getting his just due.
Right.
You know?
Like not the like the add in on what you said. Like I'm really hoping that, because he's in the pure title tournament right now where they filmed it, but he's in that tournament. So I'm hoping that, you know, Ring of Honor doesn't turn the blind eye, you know, like how to, you know, and not bring him in, because I think he would fit in really well with what they do, especially.
Right.
But I mean, as far as the pure title tournament goes, I think they're kind of leaning more in the direction of seeing Lethal versus Gresham in the finals, of course, but because they're the two contracted wrestlers, you know, like. But I mean,
right.
I think that Fred Yehi being signed, like, dude, they got O'Shay Edwards and Fred just sitting under the umbrella, like right now, like it's just sitting there, man. Like come on now, like y'all, I think it's plenty of stuff for them to do in Ring of Honor. But like one thing I did want to ask you about, like, so you mentioned like you and Fred having programs in action wrestling. Do you think that's something that independent promotions should start doing more, instead of just having like, okay, it's gonna be the big, you know, the big blow off match? Not even a blow off, just the big match that everybody wants to see. You think they should, throughout these shows that they do once a month or once every 2 months or twice every month, you know, do you think that should be something that they should do, is start having programs on these independent shows and then, you know, kind of telling the story throughout the next 3 or 4 shows? Or do you think, as far as independent promotions goes, it doesn't really fit well because it's not like super consistent as far as like a week to week basis? You know, on a week to week television program, you could kind of, you know, keep it flowing like that. But like, as far as like, do you think like fans would have the, you know, like the kind of to just be able to keep up with that type of stuff from a month to month type of basis and remember the storylines and remember why these guys are fighting? Do you think that would be something that would be cool, a cool addition to independent promotions?
Oh, most definitely, I think. But there's also is a lot of variables going into that,
Right?
Because it's like if you are running a monthly show and you do have that match there, it takes all 3 parties, the promotion and then the 2 people or the 4 people, however many people are in that angle. It takes all of them to also help get that content and help get that story out there too. So, you know, it takes a collective effort to do that. But I think it can be done, like, especially nowadays, everybody's posting promos, everybody's posting content now. So, like, nowadays, it definitely can get, if you're running the show every month, it definitely can get that point across. You know, like another little short story I did down there in action was me and the Matt Sales story. You know, and I mean, it was 3 shows. Like, I cost him a match on the first show. He was about to end his undefeated streak. I cost him a match on that show. And then pretty much we made a little challenge to each other. And then he was a special referee in one of my matches and cost me the match there. So then finally we did the one singles match we had. You know, it wasn't, you know, we told a story without even having a match. You know, our one match was the match where it was the hair versus mask, you know, or not mask, but hair versus the money. So, you know, to tell a story without even having a match and just having one match to blow it off, like we were going to continue that story, but COVID hit. But I mean, to have the crowd, like, as soon as I cost him that match, the crowd was already like, you know, they were already hating me. And then for me to go out there and talk trash about him and then, you know, like, just look past him like he was nothing. And then he was the special referee in my match and cost me the match there. And it was just, it wrote itself. And, like, that's another guy, too, that, you know, who, like, I mean, he's not a person of color, but, I mean, he's another guy that's been doing this for a long time. And, you know, a lot of people told him that, you know, his gimmick's not going to work. His gimmick is, you know, it's too, like, I guess it's too controversial, but to me, it's really not. You know, He's just he's a guy that loves to drink beer and he likes sex. I mean, and the name like it, like, you know, everybody says sex sells. So I mean, you know, he just really just it's a play on words. You know what I mean? And then like his gimmick, he's pretty much a rock star.
I think was he on AEW Dark one time?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew I heard that. Like when you said that name, it kind of clicked, and then when you started talking about the gimmick, I was like, oh, yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the same guy that came out during the Young Bucks entrance, and they had like the Street Fighter stuff on, and they super kicked him. That's the same dude, man. Like he's been grinding for a while too, man. So it's not like the crowd was already behind him, and then once I did what I did, they hated me. And then we didn't, like I said, man, like we had one match, and the crowd, that one match, like, packed that dang little building out. Like, that one match packed that building out. They all came there to see him take my money. And they got what they wanted. And the crowd went, like, if you go back and watch that match, like, the crowd went nuts at the end, man. And it was like, those are the feelings there. Like, that's what I live off of. At the end of that match, if you're so mad that the person cheated or the person like got screwed and the crowd's hot about it and you can hear it, like, dude, like, that's one of the best feelings, because you know the next time you go in there, like, they're going to be ready for you to get that ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? Or if you go out there and you're doing all that, and then the guy you're in there with, and he goes over there and beats you and embarrasses you, and then everybody's laughing at you and going crazy, like, dude, like, that's I mean, you got to think about it. We're already walking her out here in dang spandex. So, like, we can't be any more embarrassed, you know? Like, but and the third, we're there to entertain them. So, like, if they're laughing and having a good time at my expense at the end of the night, man, it's even better, because you know, like, if they were to see you outside of there, they're like, man, thank you, man. That match was great, man. You guys did good. And then it's like, you just know, like, well, thank you, man. Like that's what we live for as performers, man. Like, go out there and to put on a good show for the fans and the crowd, so they can go home happy, or they can go home and talk about it and be sad. Like, I also think, you know, just playing, you know, what we're talking about, just doing the storylines. Like, people got to be patient, too. A lot of times people, you know, the fans, they get a little bit impatient. But, like, if you're running once a month, like, they're going to have to be willing to be patient. Like, versus, you know, being on TV all the time and telling that continuous story on a weekly basis. You know, sometimes that can get played out, too. It depends on how you're telling the story. You know, if you're trying to do that slow burn, that slow build, then there's certain ways to do that. But if you're just trying to have a nice, hot, fast, you know, angle, then there's ways to go about that as well. And you can do that. Like, these promotions can do that. And, I mean, some of them have. But, I mean, more can do that, too, versus just going out there and having the blockbuster, you know, money in big indie match. You know what I'm saying? So there's different ways to go about it, but there's also ways you can incorporate both too. But like I was saying, Andrew, it takes both parties. It takes both parties to go out there and be able to accomplish that.
Right. And just to kind of shift topics a bit, it was cool to read that you did some shows with the Omega promotion that was founded by Matt the Hardy Boys and Shane Hurricane Helms.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, you mentioned Trevor Lee, now known as Cameron Grimes. I know he's real close with all three of them. How did you get started with Omega?
Well, you know, like I was saying beforehand, you know, Trevor, like, his dad, you know, like, he was one of the founders of Omega. Like, Trevor's dad and Matt Hardy, like, were the OG founders of, like, Omega.
Okay.
So, you know, Shane, when he, back in 2008, I want to say, when I think he was recovering and on his way back to TV, he came and trained with us a few times, because he didn't live too far from where we were at. He came down there and trained with us for a little bit. So, you know, Shane, I've gotten knowledge dropped on me from Hurricane Helms, Matt and Jeff Hardy, You know, he's like all the other guys. Mike Maverick, that's another guy that was up there. You know, I've been in the locker room with Chili Willie and well, yeah, man. Like so, like so when I won when I was the heavyweight champ in CWF, um, during my run, Omega, like Matt decided to start running again, and so like he just, you know, like my trainer, Coach Jim and I, you know, he was also helping, you know, with the shows.
Mm.
So like, you know, that's, you know, and then Shane, you know, he thinks I'm cool, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Like a guy I grew up watching, a guy I used to emulate. Like me and another a friend of mine, his name is David. He's a comedian now in California. But I remember we used to walk to school together, and I used to walk by his house or his grandma's house, and like you walk across this street, and then you look up at the top of this hill. At the top of the street is his house. And so, like, I used to always walk by there, like, at the bottom of the street, I used to always walk by and then do the hurricane pose and just do all that stuff, man. And then, so I keep walking down, and here he comes. And then he comes and doing the pose, man. So, like, for me, man, like, the first time I met Shane, I was like, yo, this is crazy, man. Like, I used to, like, emulate you, man. And then, like, being, like, in training with him, and then, like, getting in the ring with him, and him like showing me some pointers and things like that, and then to eventually, like I think a couple years ago, we had a match.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can already imagine, like, yeah, like number one, like he wasn't feeling well that day, so now you're putting your trust into me to protecting you there during this match, like, and we went out there, and like I said, man, that's one of those things that if you go back and watch that match, you know, match was just on a whim. They didn't know he was going to be there. You go out there, you know, me and the coach are all confident, like, we're the best, whatever. We issue open challenge. We've issued all these open challenges. Ain't nobody answering. And then his music hits. Crowd goes nuts. We have our match. And then he beats me with, surprise, a backslide. Crowd goes crazy. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I was like, well, this is like deep down inside, I'm marking out as a kid, like, yo, this is awesome. I just wrestled the Hurricane. You know what I mean? Right. But like, you know, going back to the story, so, you know, like, I think he was the one, like, getting the talent, you know, rounded up. So, you know, like, he hit me up, was like, hey, man, you know, you want to come do Omega? And I'm, duh, right. Of course. Exactly. So, like, yeah, man, like, yeah. So I got to do a few Omega shows there, man, and yeah, dude, it was just, like, it's so awesome because, you know, growing up, you hear about Omega, you heard about Omega growing up, and then I move over here, and I'm literally, like, in the backyard of Omega country. Like, my trainer was in Omega for a little bit, you know what I mean? So being a part of that, man, it was awesome, man. Like, it's one of those things I got to cross off the bucket list as doing is going in there and being in an Omega ring and being in an Omega match, you know, because, I mean, you know, they were using our ring. So, so that was another thing, too. Like, they were using our ring. So we would get to go up there and being able to do a few matches with them was awesome, man.
Now I believe you have your own YouTube channel. I think it's called Planet of the Ace that everybody can go. So there you go. Everybody go subscribe to that and check out some of Arik's content and his matches that's up there. The link is gonna be in the description of this video. But like Arik, like during this period of wrestling that we're in right now, like how important do you think it is for wrestlers, specifically independent wrestlers that we're speaking about right now, to have those different outlets to further express themselves? Like, of course, we've seen wrestlers start streaming video games. We got people, you know, promoting their brands through YouTube. We got people, you know, doing like these little side endorsement deals. Like, how important do you think that is, as, you know, especially now, during this period that we're in now, how important do you think it is for wrestlers to start treating themselves and viewing themselves as a brand as opposed to just, you know, I'm a wrestler?
I think it's extremely important, especially if your goal is to make money in wrestling and to be something in wrestling. Like, I think it's extremely important to, you know, start, you know, branding yourself and presenting yourself as such, you know. That's why you notice too, like, I think, but like even beforehand, there was a lot of guys, you know, that, you know, like that do that. They, you know, they start, you know, fixing themselves as far as like, like start like correcting themselves and becoming more of a brand. And then people want to bring up, and then it's hard because then people want to, once you start doing that successfully and you're successful at it, then people are like, hey, remember what this guy said 10 years ago or 11 years ago on Twitter?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that's hard, like, because, people are legitimately trying to make a change for themselves, and being more professional. And then once they do that, then they're like, oh, yeah, this guy said this 15 years ago. Which, if, like, to me, if they're still spewing that type of stuff, like, within the recent times of history, and I mean recent, like, within the past 2 years, then... yeah, they're always trying to make a change. If you can noticeably see the change in that person, then like you got to let that person be, because not everybody's perfect. We've all done stuff. We've all done shit that we're not proud of, and we've done stuff that some of us may be ashamed of. But then there's some people out there that don't think they're in the wrong.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, and so they'll continue to do what they're doing, but the people around notice that, and it's like, I'm not gonna use that person. I'm not gonna be affiliated with that person, because you're obviously not trying to make a change. You may say it on here, but if I see you in public and you still that same person, you still that same piece of trash, then obviously you're not trying to make a change. So like I said, there's people that are doing it and legitimately are trying to be better and better themselves, and being, like I said earlier, being humbling themselves, because branding yourself and promoting yourself, a lot of people, myself, man, like, you mentioned my YouTube page, like I just kind of started putting videos on there because, before I was like, man, what do I need to do to put more content out there, and what do I need to do to get myself noticed more, And so, yeah, man, I was like, man, I need to go ahead and because like for myself, like one of my biggest things about myself that I'm hard on are my promos. So it's like, man, I don't want to go out here and cut a shitty promo and then post it and nobody likes that shit. So it's like we're all self-aware. We're all self-aware. So it's just about trusting yourself and believing in what you're putting out there, because in that way, if you believe what you're putting out there is good enough, then you need to go ahead and do it. If and sometimes if you feel like sometimes people are like, oh no, that's no good, but a lot of times those people are wrong, because like they say, oh, that's no good, but if you trust in yourself, you feel like, no, I feel like this is a pretty good thing. And then you go out there and it's successful, then, you make yourself look good. But if you go out there and it's not, then it's like, okay, well, obviously that didn't work. So they were right. So what do I need to do to change it? And then change it on the next one. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's extremely important, because, that's how some of that supplemental income is going to come in too. Like if you're, streaming yourself playing video games, like people are paying to watch you do that. You know what I mean? People are paying to, like, if you get enough views on YouTube and enough views on your Facebook Live or whatever, you're going to get paid for that. So, it's like, and if you don't, it's not like you're going to lose money. So like you're really all in, like,
it's a win-win.
Like as far as the streaming, yeah, you're really like the streaming. Like you may have to buy like the streaming stuff. And I mean, I'm sure you can make that money back, like, no problem. But like, as far as like just posting a promo like on Facebook, or like and promoting your stuff on Facebook, like, if you use the Facebook gimmick to where you pay to have it promoted more, like, I mean, it's not that much more money. Like, you're still gonna, if it gets seen more and you get enough views, then you're gonna get that money back. So, that's another thing too. There's just all about budgeting your real life and what's going on in real life versus budgeting what you got for wrestling. So you can't let those two kind of mesh, because then especially like you got a family and stuff like that, you can't just put all your money towards wrestling. You got to put some of that towards your family, right. And then the rest you can put it towards wrestling. So if for for myself, like if I started streaming, myself playing video games, like Andrew Everett, he's doing that now. He's streaming stuff on Twitch, and I know the other day he told me he made a good little chunk of change just streaming. Like he's been building this whole thing, and he made a good little chunk of change. Like he made his rent money in that one little show. You know what I'm saying? So you can do it, and especially if like you gotta, your shoot job is good enough, like if you're good enough to pay rent, that other money is just gonna be extra, and then all you gotta do is just stock that away and invest it and invest what you want, and then take the rest of it and invest it into like your wrestling. That's another thing too, man. Like what Marshawn Lynch said last year after that playoff game, man. He's like, take care of your mentals, take care of your chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you got to, man. Like, you gotta take care. Like, you got to, man, because then, you see a lot of wrestlers, a lot of older wrestlers that, they're not in good health and they're broke and all this other stuff because they were living, that other life, and they've been married 3 or 4 times because they weren't managing their money right and didn't care at least. So that's another thing too, man. Like that's one thing I learned too. That you gotta like make sure you invest and protect your money too. Like and like so you're good down the road. So it's like we're living in the now, trying to get over now. But do what you can to get over now. But make sure what you're doing to get over now is going to help you in the future, and so you're good in the future as well. So. Right. Like I said, man, I totally think it's very important. It's very important to get content out there and get yourself out there because, if you don't, then nobody's gonna know you're there. So like word of mouth can only do so much. But if you go out there and start putting out content, like they see, okay, well this guy, this guy wrestled Chris Hero. Oh, this guy wrestled Kevin Steen. Oh, this guy wrestled Trevor Lee, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy wrestled Tracy Williams. So, this guy has been in the ring with some guys. So maybe he's all right. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the, that's one part of it. But if you go and cut a promo and it's like, oh, this dude's funny. Let me watch this match. Oh, the match, and then that makes the match even better. Then, yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. So, yeah, definitely, if you really, and this is also speaking to myself, man. I'm motivating myself, but any up and coming wrestler out there that's trying to, make something in wrestling, not only you got to put the work in the ring at training, got to put that work in, but also when you have your character and you're ready to go out there and wrestle, when your trainer lets you know, like, all right, you go ahead, you're good to go, start putting content out. You know what I mean? Then you got to already be prepared for that. You remember No Way Jose?
Yeah.
So I had a hand, not a big hand, but he trained with us too.
Oh, that's cool.
And I remember, so I remember when he first debuted, like he debuted with a promo. He didn't debut with a match. He debuted with a promo, and then the match, then like the promo hits, and then the match hits, and like. It's like, oh, this guy's already a cocky, because he was like a heel. So he's like, oh, he's already a cocky piece of shit foreigner. So then he's gonna go in here against like our gatekeeper, Rick Converse. He's gonna go in there and wrestle this guy. So we already want Rick to win. We want Rick to shut this guy up. And then the rest is history. Like he wasn't there long. No Way Jose wasn't there long. He was there for maybe a year, and then he was gone because like. He had all the intangibles, and then he went up there and he tried to take what they gave him and run with it. But with a gimmick like that, you can only do so much.
Yes, it's a ceiling with gimmicks like that, and I think we especially see that with talents that come from the independent scene that make it to WWE. I think a lot of people, they don't realize No Way Jose came from the independent scene. I think people just think like he was like created within. Created within the WWE system. But he did come from the independent scene. Like anybody go check some of his stuff out. But like I think that's more so like what we see a lot of times in WWE specifically. Like it's more character based. Like because I think there's an abundance of good wrestlers in WWE, and I think the way they view things is, okay, yeah, you're a great wrestler, but so is everybody else here that we got signed. So what do you do different?
Right.
Like, and I think that's kind of what they
right.
like, specifically.
Yeah.
Specifically speaking about, you know, Trevor Lee, I think it was the same thing with him. Like, yeah, you're a great wrestler, like, but so is, you know, we got Adam Cole here, we got all these other guys here, we got Roderick Strong here, we got, you know, Ricochet who was there, we got, you know, we got all these different people there. So right, it's like I think
so we're gonna put this big ass hat on you and see what you can do with it, you know. and then sure enough, he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna embrace it, and sure enough,
and give you the, you know, make sure you amplify the southern accent up a little bit, and, you know, talk a little country, and, you know, and it's working. Like, he's actually making it work. Like, and it's crazy how that thing is starting to grow in a lot of people. But like, you know, you were speaking of content, right? And like, I know you had some matches on your YouTube channel, and like 2 weeks ago, when we were trying to initially set this up, I had went back and watched some of your matches on YouTube. I watched 1 or 2 matches, and one of the matches that I watched was against Cedric Alexander, and I think that was like a really, really, really good match. You know, both, I think you and Alexander worked really, really well together, matching your power and your, you know, your size and his athleticism. I think the two styles just kind of like mesh really well. Like, just off the top of your head, like, what are some of the matches that, you know, that come to your mind and you think, like, you know, like, damn, that was, you know, that was a good match right there?
Well, you know, speaking on Cedric, man, like, I think Cedric is amazing, bro. Like, I remember, like, when I first, we actually both of our first year in, like, I was tagging with Chief a Kid, Andrew Everett, and I remember one show he couldn't be there, so then they put me and Cedric together. And I mean, it was just, you know, the instant chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cedric had it pretty much from the jump street. But, you know, both of my matches with Cedric, like the one I was the champion that I had with him, like, I really, like, I like that match. But it's also crazy, man, because you can, you know, you go back and like something, and then, like, you go back and watch it, and then it's like, man, I could have did better there. Oh, I could have did better there. Or, so, like, I'm always one of those people that picks apart, like, everything that I do. But, like, that, both of those matches, the first one I had and the last one I had with him, like, I really liked. Of course, wrestling Trevor Lee, like, like, my first title match that I had with him, which is on YouTube, it's Battlecade, I want to say Battlecade 14. That one, like, that's probably one of my all-time favorite matches. And then the last one I did with Trevor before he left, which is, like, not this past Battlecade, but Battlecade 19, that one as well, because, like, just the stipulations, and then, you know, I knew he was leaving, and it's like, man, I just want to go out here and just tear it up with my friend one more time and tell this story before he goes, you know. And then you look over to, I wrestled Logan Easton LaRoe in Nova Pro. That one I really enjoyed a lot. There's the Fred matches, all the action matches I had with Fred. The match I just had with Hoodfoot, I really enjoyed that one. And then, like, the one before that I had with Manders, and the one I had with Suge. Like, I just feel like now, like I think I'm in, like, so to speak, I'm in my bag now, so I kind of know what I'm able to do.
Like, you hitting your stride.
And then, yeah, and so it's like I can, and like I said, man, like, and the reason I'm really proud of those 3 matches, because there were 3 different matches, and it's like, okay, you want me to see me? You don't think I can wrestle? Well, I can grapple. Or you don't think I can? You know, Manders, you know, he's been making a name for himself, power guy. Well, I can do that too. I can go toe to toe with that, and Hoodfoot as well. It was like, so, like, I really enjoyed those. The Chris Hero match that I had, I really enjoyed that one. Another one that I really enjoyed from Nova Pro is I wrestled Tracy Williams, Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, back in, I want to say 2016. And dude, we just went up there and wrestled for 30 minutes, man. And, like, we didn't, like, it was awesome. Like, that's the stuff I thrive on. Like, I like trading holds with people. I like trading holds and grappling. I mean, we all like every wrestler likes doing that for the most part. But, like, being able to actually do a few things with somebody with his, wrestling expertise, and I'm able to showcase, like, hey, man, I can do some too. Like, I really enjoyed, like, the chemistry we had there. I did a match with Roy Wilkins at this last Battlecade. That one was really good too. It was just really emotional, just as far as like, it would be the last one we had for a while. So it was just and just the history that we had with each other, and so like that one. I had a match with Lee Valiant at the CWF Rumble, and the crowd reaction, like I said, man, like the crowd make most of the time, like you can go out there and make the crowd involved in like get into a match, but sometimes all you gotta do is walk out there and the crowd's already into it, and it's like, man, that's awesome. Like it makes things easier. And then there's one more CWF match that stands out. I mean, a lot of them do, but this one really does too. I feel like it's kind of helped, it kind of helped boost me up a little bit more, and that was the match I had with Andrew Everett at Battlecade. If you haven't checked that one out, that one's on the CWF YouTube page too, and yeah, man, like that one there, like, oh man, like, oh, so like
he's in the zone
for me. Yeah, like for me, like here's the thing. Like I want to speak back on Trevor, man. Like so, during that run, it was either like either Trevor was main event or I was main event. For like a good, so like 2012 when I won the belt in 2012, and going all the way through there, like it was either I was in the main event or Trevor was in the main event, and then there was just these always is like, man, these people, like a lot of other people in that situation, they're like, man, well, I don't think I can follow Trevor. You know what I mean? And for myself, like I was telling you before about challenges, like I welcome that because I knew, I was like, man, I'm not gonna go out here and have the same match he's gonna have. My match gonna be different, so they're gonna enjoy it differently. So, and it's the same thing for him. Like he knows what he's capable of. He ain't worried about what I'm doing because he knows what he's gonna go out there and do. So it's like, so that Andrew Everett match, that match was right before the main event. So semi-main, those matches always kind of like get put in a tough position because they're ready for that main event. But yeah, like me and him went out there, killed it. Crowd, like, they loved it, and like, and that was like really like I had just turned heel, really. So like I was really like getting my stride in as a heel. So that Andrew Everett match, man, that's probably one of my like favorite matches as well. So
and you go ahead, Eric.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
So like I know this right here. I know this kind of like a like a cliche question, but like is getting signed, to a major company something that's on the back of your mind, or not really? Because I have talked to a few independent wrestlers who say they're not really like they are, of course they want to be signed, but they're not like, it's not something that they're like checking for 24/7. So where does that rank as far as importance for you? Is getting signed the ultimate goal?
Well, I feel like that's, I mean, obviously the easy answer is yes. Like I would love to get signed somewhere and make money doing what I love to do, which is wrestling and entertaining the crowd and put it on the show, putting my body on the line for the crowd to be entertained, But like the long answer is like I just want to go out there and be able, like, if I go out there and I go and get in front of a major company, is like, hey, we're going to give you a match. You got 6 minutes. You show me what you got. Like, okay, ain't no problem, bro. Like, that's a walk in the park for me. Like, the decision's not going to be hard for me. The decision's going to be hard for you. Like, and it shouldn't be. Like, if I go out there and I kill it, and then you try to test me again, I go out there and kill it again, and keep killing it, then you have no choice but to sign me, But a lot of times, too, a lot of these companies try to play mind games with you, And it's like, man, like, I'm 35 years old, bro. Like, I ain't got time for these mind games. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out here like, if you know what you want, if you know that you want me, you can let me know, yes or no. And then that way, if you do want me and you say, hey, we want you, but we need you to do this, that, and the other, okay, let me go work on that. And I'll come back and then I'll show you, okay, there it is. Now what? You know?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just, I hear, you've heard, like, you hear the stories from people and you just hear like, yeah, it's all a mind game. They try to play mind games. Like, man, they're too old for that shit, man. Like, we all out here trying to make money, bro, and put on a good fucking product for the people. But if you're out here trying to play mind games with your employees and you fuck them up in the head, then what? It's just like, it don't make no damn sense to me.
Right.
Like, you should be trying to look out for your employees' mental health and just be honest with people. We're all adults. Like, everybody there in all these promotions are mostly adults, but also, are they mature or are they immature? And, they still got some immature people, but I mean, that's everywhere. You're going to have immature people everywhere. But, yeah, man, like, some people are just, I feel like, aren't mature enough, but I like those people aren't really getting showcased. So, and well, with the exception of, one person, but I ain't gonna say his name, but yeah, like I just feel like the mind game stuff, like dude, like this, what is this? This ain't no psych evaluation. You're not a psychiatrist, you're not a psychologist or whatever. Like, bro, we trying to make money. It's a business. You trying to make a profit off of what I do, but I'm also trying to make money off of what I do and make money off you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's come to agreement. Let's work on something. But like I said, man, I would love to get signed so I can showcase what I'm capable of. But at the same time, man, like, there's so many matches that I want to do on the independent scene, and like, a lot of people are making more money on the independent scene than what they're doing, than getting signed.
Yeah.
So that's the other side. Like, are you, do you want to get signed and make money, or are you making enough money right now, not signed, and do you want to continue to do that? And some people are happy doing that, and some people are, happy getting signed. So, like, if I'm able to get signed first, great. But if I'm able to go out here and make money off independent wrestling and make just as much money doing that, then I'd be much happier. It wouldn't make any difference to me, I guess, to be honest. Like, whichever comes first.
Right. And lastly, Arik, before we wrap it up, man, I do want to thank you for your time, being gracious with the time and actually doing this interview. But like, what would the Arik Royal of today tell the Arik Royal who just got started in the wrestling business? Just looking for an opportunity, looking to get started. What would your advice be to your former self? I would say not even your former self, the earlier days, to the earlier days of Arik Royal.
I would just tell him to have more confidence in yourself, and just to keep being humble and keep listening and keep trying to have an open mind when it comes to like learning to get better as far as in ring and wrestling, and also being, just continue to take constructive criticism as well. And to, just to stay in shape, definitely stay in shape and make yourself presentable. And I would definitely tell him to, especially back then, because nobody was really doing it as much, as say, you find your character, put some content out there, just put it out there and let your character, and if it sticks to the wall, let it stick. If it runs down, then try something else and throw that against the wall.
It is, man. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, from the man himself. Arik, any final plugs you want to get in, man? Social media, upcoming dates, the floor is yours. I'll make sure to plug everything in the description of this video.
All right, yeah, man. I appreciate you too, Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at Big Arik Royal. You can follow me on Instagram at Ace_Royal11. You do have an Arik Royal Facebook page. You can go there as well. And like we mentioned earlier, I do have the YouTube page, the Planet of the Ace YouTube page. Bear with me. It's just really getting started. I don't have too many videos on there, but you can see a highlight video of me that was done by John Filipevich. So he did a good job on that. And there's a few promos up there of me. And here in a little bit, or there will be upcoming matches I put on there and post on there as well. So
there we go.
Yeah, man, just and you'll find me the next show I'll be at will be Action Wrestling on November 13th. But it's a Friday, so I'll be down there for that. And then December 11th I'll also be down there. So those are like the next two shows set and date. And then starting next year, I will be taking January and probably most of February off due to, the baby being born.
Yep.
And then I'll be back at it again in March. But just because I'm taking those 2 months off don't mean I'm going to be sitting there on my ass. I'm still going to be putting in the work and grinding. So, those March opportunities, any promoters out there, you can email me. It is SugarB51, that's SUGAB 51 at yahoo.com. So for email, any inquiries, you can email me there. Or like I said, you can contact me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook as well. But yeah, those are the main things we're doing here. I'm gonna today, actually, Thursday was I had my first match this past Thursday, 12 years ago, against Marcellus King. Thank you. So I'm gonna try to find a way to celebrate that tonight, and forget about this Laker loss, and yeah, go from there, man. But yeah, if you have anybody out there that has any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, feel free to let me know, and I will sift through them accordingly. Because a lot of times people will have suggestions, but they're just really being trolled. So I will sift through the suggestions and things accordingly. But Andrew, I appreciate your time, taking time out of your day to holler at me too. For finally getting sitting down and talking to you.
Yeah.
After playing, and playing tag for a little bit there, man. So it was good talking to you, man.
I appreciate you taking the time. It was a good conversation, man. I hope you enjoyed as well. Everybody go like the video when it's up. Share it, retweet it, pass it along to the next person, man. I'm Arik. Before we wrap it up, first, congratulations again to you and your lady on the on the forthcoming birth, man. So that's big right there. But yeah, everybody, I'm Andrew Thompson of the Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. This is the one and only Arik Royal, and we are out. Thank you for listening. Peace.
Yay!